Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics, and in today's episode of Brexit's going well, isn't it? I'm going to discuss the news that a disaster charity is to be involved with Kent County Council in order to help the poor sods trying to drive lorries out of the country through the county as they get stuck in nightmare queues brought along by our brainless Brexit. But first, if you'd like to be notified of daily news and politics, please subscribe to the channel and click the bell notification icon. So speaking of channels, our southern one's a bit busy. It's getting very busy. Bank holiday again next week. There's a lot of queues and a lot of news media outlets trying to suggest it's down to this and down to that. Oh, it's down to it's only because of this. It's like, yeah, we used to have all of those things a few years ago. We didn't say queues like this, did we? What's new? What's new? Is it Brexit? Oh, no, it's not Brexit. All right, then. Now, since exiting the single market and customs union, of course, lorry drivers have found themselves with quite significant delays in getting from Britain to the EU. Got worse this year, partly down to increased traffic in the form of cars. Because last year, with pandemic travel restrictions, freight had it relatively easy. But now we're trying to get back up to normal levels of traffic through Kent, cars and trucks. But with delays at our Brexit borders, it's not going well. The government have tried to shift the problem to an extent by dumping lorries that would otherwise be clogging up the main roads in lorry parks. But that only eases part of the problem. You know, once they're all cleared to get through the port, there's no reason to have them in the lorry park, so then they're clogging up the roads again. And the lorry drivers themselves would argue it doesn't ease anything for them, because it doesn't matter for them whether they're stuck in a lorry park or stuck on a road. On a good day, it takes you over 12 hours longer to pass through Kent than it used to before Brexit. As this week goes on, we're going to see some much longer queues. You know, on a bad day, it can take 3 days longer. You can actually be stuck for these excessive periods of time on the M20 or the M2 and not be allowed to leave your cab. We don't have the toilet or other facilities to deal with massive numbers of drivers just stuck on the road, inching very slowly towards our busiest port. So the local council has issued a 6-month contract at a cost, of course, to the taxpayer of £180,000 to a group called Disaster Response in order to help. The report suggested we may now expect 50 days of gridlock a year thanks to Brexit. For reference, you may have had 3 or 4 days of pretty bad queues in more sensible years. Traffic management systems in Kent switched from being deployed temporarily, because like I said, they're only needed for a few days in the year, to a permanent system now, because it's needed so frequently. There was a fairly chilling quote in the article, which I'll link below. The council said it had a duty to provide humanitarian assistance to those in need under certain circumstances. And of course it does. Of course it does. But who would ever have imagined that the circumstances under which humanitarian assistance is required is driving down one of the 2 main roads through the county to a port? Should be routine. You know, has there been a tornado? Has there been some other major disaster? Has there been an earthquake that's ripped through Kent? No. This used to be routine. We're not talking about a natural disaster. We're not talking about a sudden snowdrift coming in or an earthquake cutting them off. We're talking about a deliberate Conservative Party policy to not just exit the EU, which was all the illegal referendum of 2016 called for, but to do so under the harshest, most insane terms possible. This disaster company operates in areas of major humanitarian disasters. You can see from their website they're active in Ukraine right now, helping deal with the refugee crisis that we won't help with. They were first set up to help after the Nepal earthquake. They've operated in flood-hit Sierra Leone, chaos of Afghanistan when Western forces pissed off. They've also been active in the UK as well, helping communities during the COVID pandemic. Again, you can understand, yeah, that's a disaster. But I'm struggling to find an example of where they've been in operation to help cope with a disaster that is deliberate government policy in an advanced nation. Where there's no natural disaster or war element to it at all. Can't find it. We're used to the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse causing humanitarian disasters, of course, war, pestilence, famine mostly, with the lesser known wild beasts. What we didn't know is the Bible forgot to tell us about a 5th horseman, the Tory party. Didn't predict that one, did you, Ezekiel? So this crisis group is now going to be employed to deliver food and water to vehicles when the situation gets biblical on the M20 and the M2. Now, I know this is just a 6-month contract, but that won't be because it's only expected to be for a short-term problem. If anything, be an even bigger problem after 6 months. I imagine the council will want to keep pressuring the government to do something more to put in place permanent solutions. Indeed, they should be doing that. We cannot have a long-term solution being a disaster relief group running up and down the motorway with emergency food and water on our main trade route. It's embarrassing for the country. It's ridiculous for the people stuck in those queues. I'm sure you're also thinking about how they deal with the toilets as well. It's all very well putting food and drink down one end of a driver. What happens when it comes out the other end? I couldn't find any information on that. They're going to have to just let people get out to use mobile toilets though. There's no other way. And I'm not going to go on here. I've already talked about the problems which still haven't hit Kent yet, which will make the situation way worse. I'll just leave it here with this thought. The UK is one of the most advanced economies in the world. We're a G7 nation. We are falling from grace so quickly. It's like igniting the oxygen in the air as we do so. Contracting people who deal with serious humanitarian crises around the world to help manage our major trading route is just the latest example of this. You know, we've gone from being a respected G7 nation to an international laughingstock within a few years. Brexit was bad enough, but the cavalier way that Boris Johnson has conducted it, in a way that only someone who never suffers the consequences for his actions could, has gone beyond both farce and tragedy. It's been said before, it is an incredibly bad position to be in for someone to be making decisions when they are personally shielded from the consequences of those decisions. When that person is also making decisions at the highest national level, it's actually quite dangerous. Been a lot of talk of countries who banned fee-paying private schools and their politics works, just saying. But those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. Hope you found the video interesting. If you did, please click the like button. Maybe even click on the join button if you'd be interested in memberships. And until next time, I'll see you later.